Denia is coming soon, but with the Cyberpunk collab right after, is it even worth it to go for Denia in the first place? That's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video by discussing Denia's biggest pros and cons, starting of course with her pros. And I think the very first thing to mention is that Denia is going to be an excellent teammate for two of the most popular characters in the entirety of Wuthering Waves, being both Aemeath and Chisa, finally completing the Fusion Burst team and making it an actually good team to use in endgame content. Currently, Aemeath's Fusion Burst mode is entirely underutilized, mainly because she does not have a good buffer to support that playstyle. Aemeath's Fusion Burst team relies heavily on Fusion Burst application in order to apply Fusion Trail to the enemy, which will then increase the damage of Aemeath's special Fusion Bursts that she inflicts with her Forte skill. However, Aemeath applies a pitiful amount of Fusion Burst on her own. And with Chisa obviously not applying any Fusion Burst either, it meant that Aemeath's Fusion Burst team was incredibly underutilized. If you wanted to run Aemeath with Chisa, it would just be better to put Lynae in the team and run the Toon Rupture mode, which meant that Aemeath's Fusion Burst mode was basically useless. Until now, however, because Denia is going to be our premium Fusion Burst applicant, being used for the best-in-slot Fusion Burst team, allowing Aemeath and Chisa to work together alongside Denia. This team works to cover up the weaknesses of Aemeath's Toon Rupture team, while the only downside of it being the fact that it has lower DPS. So you're only sacrificing damage, and what you gain as a benefit is more damage against lower class enemies because Toon Rupture damage depends on the enemy class, and better performance in Whimpering Wastes, because the Fusion Burst team consists of 3 characters who all do significant damage while they're on the field, which is actually very good for Whimpering Wastes as a game mode. Not just that, but you're also getting a way higher damage ceiling because negative status teams are automatically better for Quick Swap, simply because the outro skills of characters like Shikona and Denia do not expire upon swapping out, which means that negative status teams are almost always going to be a lot stronger in Quick Swap than the traditional hyper carry teams. Another very good thing for Denia is that she is going to be best in slot for almost every single Toon Strain DPS. That's right, Denia is not just Fusion Burst, she is also Toon Strain thanks to Resonance mode. And the reason that I say she's going to be good for almost every single Toon Strain DPS is because the benefits she gives to Toon Strain are all incredibly generalist. She's not built specifically for Luke, she's built for Toon Strain as a whole. There's not a single mechanic within her kit that requires you to use Luke specifically. The only mechanic within her kit that necessitates the use of a different character is a Toon Break boost buff to the entire team that scales on the off-toon build-up rate of the character. So you are going to want Mornia in your team because she's the only character who can provide that off-toon build-up rate. But here's the thing, if you're using a Toon Break based DPS, chances are you are going to use Mornia anyway. Outside of that, Denia has access to 40% damage amplification as well as the Reel of Spliced Memories set. So ultimately, Denia is going to be good with every single future Toon Strain character, and not just Luke. Something else that is incredibly relevant towards Denia is that she is going to have a very short rotation. Even if you're overestimating the time her rotation takes, you're still going to end up with a 6-second rotation, which is way shorter than a character like Lynae, who has 7 seconds. You think that 1 second difference doesn't matter, but trust me, it really does. One of the best sub DPSs in the game, Lupa, has a rotation of over 8 seconds. Comparing that to Denia's 6-second rotation, Denia's rotation is 25% shorter than Lupa's. And this is especially useful because the teams that Denia is going to be strong in are all teams that have teammates with longer rotations. Aemeath's rotation is not on the longer end, but when it comes to a third slot, Chisa's definitely is, being a bit over 7 seconds. Comparing that to Shorekeeper, who has less than 4 seconds in her rotation, that is a very big difference. So Denia having a shorter rotation makes up for Chisa having a rotation that's on the longer end, ultimately still getting you close to that 25-second rotation that almost every team strives to get towards. And when it comes to Luke, Luke himself also has a pretty long rotation when it comes to DPSs, He is able to partially minimize the effects of this by dash cancelling his Golden Impale, but with Lynae he's currently still not sitting at a 25-second rotation. Mornia also has a longer rotation than Shorekeeper by 2 seconds. Because Luke is a Toon Break character, you need to use Mornia's heavy attack, so there's no way to really shorten it either. And because Luke and Mornia are also both very anti-quickswap, getting that rotation shorter is incredibly hard. So Denia's shorter rotation is once again very appreciated. Another big pro for Denia is that both of the characters that she's good with are Lynae users. So this means that Denia is an incredibly efficient character to pull because freeing up Lynae is incredibly massive for your account, especially now that we have Hiyuki in the game. Luke and Aemeath both want Lynae in their best team at the moment, and when it comes to Aemeath, Denia is going to be very good in the Fusion Burst team, and when it comes to Luke, Denia is just straight up better than Lynae. Lynae is one of the most universal sub-DPSs in the entire game, so the ability to not use her and save her for a different team is very valuable in my eyes. Especially since, at this current moment, Hiyuki is still using Lynae as well, so Lynae is incredibly overworked. Combine that with a lot of other characters getting good usage out of Lynae, like DPS Yuno, Galbrenna, or Shangliao, and you start to realize just how good Lynae actually is. So the ability to replace her for Aemeath and Luke is very valuable to me. However, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, and obviously Denia has her flaws, so let's get into them. The first one is that Denia really does not have all that much versatility as a character. It's basically just Aemeath Fusion Burst and the Luke team as of now. And while there are most likely going to be more Toon Strain DPSs in the future, I think that Kuro is content with Luke for now, so we're not going to see them in a good bit. As for Fusion Burst, I simply don't see any alternative to this coming out anytime soon, which means that as of currently, and probably for a pretty long time, Denia isn't going to get any more teams. If you're gonna get her for a future Toon Strain DPS, then you might as well wait for a rerun, because that's most likely not going to be for quite a bit. And then the second flaw is that she is going to rely on primarily fully premium teams. This is a bit of an issue, because if you are missing one piece of the puzzle for her two best teams, then Denia becomes a lot harder to justify. I already said that she doesn't have much versatility when it comes to her team archetypes, so you already are locked into getting either Aemeath or Luke to even play the character in the first place. But in order to get the full potential out of the team, you're also going to need another premium character. For the Luke team, a lot of Denia's Toon Break boost is reliant on Mornia's off-toon build-up rate buff, so you are preferably gonna get Mornia before you get your Denia. So Denia is in fact the lowest level priority when it comes to the Luke team. And as for the Aemeath team, while she definitely is more valuable than Chisa, there's only one real alternative to Chisa in that team anyway, and it's another premium character in the form of Lupa. And not just any other premium character, one of the least popular premium characters in the entire game. If you don't have either Chisa or Lupa, then the Fusion Burst Aemeath team becomes a lot harder to justify, because what are you really working with at that point? You could run something like Brant and Changli and do Denia as the first character in the rotation, but you are going to feel that it's a lot worse than using Chisa or Lupa. So ultimately, if you don't own Chisa or Lupa, Denia isn't really that strong for Aemeath either, because at that point you might as well just settle with the Toon Break team. But that's just my opinion on Denia. Let me know what you think of her down in the comments below, and while you're down there, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Additionally, if you have any questions, you should join my Discord server, which is linked in the description. But that'll be all from me. Peace.